If I was a director of football being appointed at Manchester United right now, I would make it a priority for the Manchester United head coach going forward into next season, whether that's Ruben Amorim or someone else, has to not just use the youth players when there's no other options, but actively be looking to integrate 3 or 4 in at a time. And I think that has to be a non-negotiable because of the financial situation of the club, but also because of the talent in the youth setup, because after watching the FA Cup youth game against Arsenal, I don't know how anyone can have watched the full game, which is free to watch on YouTube, and tell me that an elite level coach from now to the end of the season can't begin to integrate a few of those players into the first team, give them some game time and then have them as a part of his squad next season. And it's not even just the players I've mentioned before. Sekou Kone, Goodwill Kokonki and of course Chido Obi Martin are the main 3 players that I've been saying need game time this season. But I actually think you can throw the likes of Jack and Tyler Fletcher, Jayden Kamason, James Scallon, Benito Mantato, Gabriel Biancheri, Harry Amas, Daniel Armour and Reece Monroe onto that list as well. Obviously not all of them before the end of the season, but if any of those did get game time, I wouldn't say that they weren't ready for it. And I'm going to break down how this relates to the individual players in just a minute. But before that, if you do want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. They've got a variety of different current season and retro jerseys, including Manchester United jerseys going all the way back to the early 90s. You can use code ALANTIS at checkout for a 10% discount for a limited time. The link will be in all the usual places, a comment section and description. Depending on where you live, you can get 7 to 12 day delivery time, as well as a 30-day money-back guarantee. But if you do want to check any of the details, on their site they do have their WhatsApp and their email, so you can contact them through those channels. There will be a link in the description and comment section below, and remember to use code ALANTIS at checkout for your 10% discount. So I'm not sure if it was an explicit thing where Lawrence is instructed to play this way, or just something more natural, but it certainly is a good idea, because you get to see the players picking up the same positions in the same areas that they would pick up if they were starting in Ruben Amorim's first team system. And the thing that really impressed me was the technical ability of United's deeper lying players in possession, and also just how intentional they were in playing through the centre. Daniel Armour and Reece Monroe were very good in this regard, but what really knitted the system together was Jack Fletcher, Tyler Fletcher and Jacob Devaney in central midfield. Devaney played the role of kind of like a halfback almost, not as much creativity in possession as a regista, but similar to Busquets and Rodri for Guardiola, he was very efficient when it came to linking play, being able to receive possession and turn fluidly, before constantly looking for a forward pass between the lines. And his ability to put disguise on his passes shows me that he definitely has a sort of incisive passing ability that United are currently lacking in central midfield. Jack Fletcher, number 8, played a similar kind of role to Devaney, but he was given more license to push further forward between the lines, specifically when it came to carrying the ball forward, with his energy both on and off the ball being something that definitely caught my eye. But also his press resistance as well, as United currently lack a player who can receive the ball under pressure, turn the man on their back or at least get a few yards of space to then drive the ball forward and progress the ball in behind the opposition's midfield line. And Tyler Fletcher showed a few times that he's more than capable of doing this. And if we are looking at where United are currently short of quality, these are the positions and specifically the roles where these players in the under 18s and 21s are thriving. Benito Mantato stylistically is perfect to play that Quenda role for Amorim at right wing back, being a player who has only recently been converted from a winger to a fullback, and that's evident in his game, as from a deeper starting position Mantato still provides the ball progression and the creative benefits of a winger, certainly being a better 1v1 dribbler than either Mazraoui or Dalot due to his pace, but crucially also being able to go either way, cutting inside or going down the outside, and despite being left footed he's highly competent with his right foot, which means he's a crossing and a shooting threat from either flank, something that I think is massively underrated in the modern game, particularly amongst wide players. Now Harry Amas isn't quite the winger-wing-back hybrid that Mantato is. He's closer stylistically and aesthetically as well, to be fair to Luke Shaw, being someone who is a very efficient carrier of the ball into space, which could be utilised either at left wing-back or at left-sided centre-back. He's someone who's very good when exchanging passes in congested areas on the flanks, and then being able to powerfully drive off of his marker and drive into the space ahead to receive the ball, whilst also being comfortable when he has to drift in field and receive the ball in those tighter positions as well. Jayden Kamason on the right side is similar stylistically to Harry Amas, being someone who is probably more of a natural fullback, but could operate either as a wide centre-back or as a wing-back, providing the sort of versatility that Amorim needs in his squad. Now as a wide centre-back and a back three, I do like Kamason and Amas. However, I do think that because Kokonki and Heaven are also options on the left side and have the physical and aerial advantage over Amas, I would probably say that he should primarily be used as a wing-back, as he does have the athleticism to race forward down the line, and Jayden Kamason can also provide this, but I would like to see him provide it from wide centre-back. I mean, a right side of Kamason as a right-sided centre-back, Mantato at right wing-back, and Jack Fletcher ahead either in the midfield 3 in a 3-5-2 or as the right-sided interior forward in a 3-4-3 looks not only stylistically balanced but also incredibly exciting due to what each player can provide. You've got Mantato, who is a 1v1 specialist capable of using his dribbling to either go down the outside onto his right foot or cutting inside onto his left foot, whilst Fletcher ahead on his inside has a sort of technical ability to be able to receive possession in the half space before coming inside onto his stronger left foot looking to create. But as we saw throughout the game against Arsenal, we could also see Jack Fletcher dropping deeper in front of the opposition's midfield line, which could then work to allow Kamason, the right-sided centre-back, to push further forward down the right, joining the attack and providing the athletic forward runs ahead of Bendito Mantato to offer him a pass in behind or drag defenders away from his area. And I think the key for Manchester United is Ruben Amorim starting to be more adventurous with his wide centre-back and wing-back selections, ideally converting wingers into wing-backs and full-backs into wide centre-backs. See, I do like the idea of a back three with Kokonki as a left-sided centre-back, Heaven centrally with Kamason to his right. And don't get me wrong, I do like both Daniel Alma and Maurice Monroe, and I certainly wouldn't write them off breaking into the first team as early as next season. But at the moment I do prefer Kamason, Heaven and Kokonki, mainly because I think both Kamason and Kokonki have the ball carrying ability to be able to drive forward from the back three, the quality in their passing and crossing to then progress the ball into the final third, but also the speed to be able to turn quickly and race back towards their own goal, defending a 1v1 duel in the channel, or moving across to track the run of a player in behind. Now Mantato and Amas would be two different types of wing backs on each side, but I do think it works quite well, especially with Kamason behind Mantato, who is naturally more of a right back and can provide the under and overlapping runs for Mantato to either use as a forward pass or to drag players away to cut inside onto his left foot. But I'd say it's probably central midfield where United's youth options are probably the most exciting. But before I break that down even further, I do have a Patreon where you can read my unreleased articles and also sign up to my in-game Instagram group chat. I've got articles out on Nigerian football, Jose Mourinho before the Porto job, as well as some articles on Beppe Marotta and Luis Campos as directors of football as well. So if you do want to sign up, I'll leave it linked in all the usual places, it would be very much appreciated. And you can also get a 7-day free trial as well, so I'll leave it linked in all the usual places, the comment section, description, the eye above and on the end screen after the video. So in central midfield, United could have Sekou Kone, who I would actually rate as United's biggest talent in the youth setup at the moment, and you could partner him alongside Jack Fletcher and one of Jacob Devaney, Tyler Fletcher or Jim Thwaites, with Devaney probably being the one I'd go for just for balance purposes in that midfield, but you could have either Jim Thwaites or Tyler Fletcher alongside the other two as well, and I actually think that midfield could actually compete with our current midfield when Casemiro and Eriksen are starting, because just from an athleticism and energy point of view, Sekou Kone runs rings around Casemiro and Eriksen, whilst also being perfect to play in one of those deeper central midfield roles in Amorim's 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 system, having the press resistance and technical ability to receive the ball under pressure in congested areas, whilst also being quicker across the ground over shorter distances, which is going to enable him to open up passing lanes a lot quicker, thereby improving United's ability to play through the centre of the pitch. And that's not even factoring in what he does in possession with his incisive passing or ball carrying ability, which I would argue is actually superior to what United currently have. Fletcher is able to exploit the space by floating into areas wide off and in behind the opposition's central midfielders, and then he also has the quality to not just keep possession, but also find a forward pass, either between the lines or in behind the back line. And Devaney is the cog at the base who provides the defensive security, but also keeps the pace of ball circulation high. And then United also have Jim Thwaites and Jack Fletcher as central midfield options as well, both of whom are highly technical players who have the ability to shield and protect the ball when they receive it under pressure, with Thwaites in particular being someone that really excites me in terms of his low centre of gravity and his ability to float past players, but also his long passing off of both feet. Now in the forward line you had James Scanlon and Gabriel Biancheri, either side of the centre forward Victor Musa, playing similar roles to the interior forward roles in Amorim's 3-4-3, and what particularly impressed me about these two was their movement, as often Biancheri would drop towards the ball, looking to drag the fullback on his back high, before then looking to spin in behind, and I actually thought he was very good when it came to understanding where the space was to exploit and how he should move in order to receive the ball. He's more of a centre forward than Scanlon, who I would describe stylistically as pretty similar to Garnacho, more of an inside forward than a centre forward, starting wide and making runs inside of the fullback, but despite Biancheri being someone that you usually associate with sitting high and making runs in behind the back line, he was actually pretty comfortable when receiving possession to feet, and then looking to turn and either find a forward pass or spread the play wide. with Scanlon also looking threatening when he made those diagonal runs from out to in, showing some fantastic facilitating movement during one of the moves, where his movement from out to in worked to drag the fullback narrow and open up space on the outside for Kamason to overlap into. Victor Musa I do need to watch a bit more of, but at the moment I'd put him in the same category as Scanlon and Biancheri, as at the moment it may change, but I don't rate them as high as the likes of Kone or Kokonki, or even Jack Fletcher or Amas, but the standard of this United side is so good that pretty much all of the starting players from the FA Youth Cup game against Arsenal have a case to be in the first team picture come pre-season if they continue to develop well, even if it isn't this season, and so I will be doing individual analysis videos on all these United talents, so let me know which ones you want to see in the comment section, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss out on those videos. But just to round up, Kokonki, Kone, Amas, Jack Fletcher and Bendito Mantato are the players that I think should be getting game time before the end of the season, as I genuinely think all of those 5 players come into the United squad and improve our problem positions. But also the likes of Kamason, Tyler Fletcher, Jim Thwaites, Jacob Devaney, James Scanlon and the rest should all at least be in a discussion, because the first team squad depth is so poor that there's no reason why these players shouldn't at least be given a chance before the end of the season or over pre-season. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if you do want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, you can go over to dragonjersey.com and use code ATLANTIS at checkout for a 10% discount. And I'll also leave another video that you should find interesting, as well as my Patreon, linked on the end screen now.